You know, I've always wanted to do things my way. When you are a football player, you are in charge of one company, which is your own. And now you have to manage many different other companies. It was at the time when I just arrived, we didn't have a scouting department, and then I made the inquiry directly on TransferRoom, and then from there we get it going.
Demba Ba, good to see you. We remember you as a class striker in the Premier League with Newcastle, West Ham and Chelsea as well, but now you're in the transfer market as a club decision maker. Can you explain exactly what you're doing at the moment?
Director of football in USL Dunkerque, which is second tier. I am basically the head of the operations of football and the development of the club also, which is not only players, but also staff, infrastructures and all of that.
It sounds like a big job indeed, and it's a big jump, very different from obviously being a player, isn't it? How have you found that transition and why that particular club?
You know, I've always wanted to do things my way. And the easy way to do things my way was, how can I partner with someone so we can buy a club and implement all the ideas that I wanted to do. And then I got in contact with that owner, USL Dunkerque, and then we got onto Dunkerque. And then he bought it, and I came in as an advisor first, right, an observer, and then I started slowly putting things in place. And this is something that I love, very different from playing football. When you are a football player, you are in charge of one company, which is your own. And now you have to manage many different other companies, because all the players are their own companies, you know, and they manage their career, and then you have to bring all of that together. But you have to add the staff also, you know, the technical staff and the medical staff and all of that. It's a big management job, but I love it.
How have you found it? And what's the most challenging part to it?
I think is the managing of the players. And I always tell them as a joke, I hope I was not like you.
Were you?
Probably. Probably. But yeah, you know, football players, they're all looking at their career, which it's normal, you know. And then you are looking at the overall picture, and what you see is not what they see. So when you have a change of perspective, all of a sudden, you see things in a different way. So in my way of managing with them, and this is probably the hardest, is to try to bring them on my seat so they can have the same point of view as I do. It doesn't mean that they're going to change what they think, but at least they might understand more how I deal with certain situations.
I played football a long time before you, and you're still very young, but obviously you're not playing anymore. The different generation now, the younger generation, how do you sort of connect with them? Do you see a difference from your generation to now?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I am born in the 80s. I feel more resemblance in my way of being with the generations of the 17s than the generation of the 19s. So you know, with the new world and the smart devices and the social media where everything is open and all of that, it makes it a little bit more challenging. And I'm trying to focus on the well-being of the players. I'm trying to focus on having them balanced emotionally, because with everything that is happening in the world and on social media, everything, a small thing becomes huge. A small thing in my time, probably smaller even in your time, becomes huge nowadays. And if you cannot change the world out there, you need to make sure that you reinforce yourself, because when criticism comes, you need to stay strong, you know what I mean? And for me, this is the most important. And as I said a few days back to some players in our team, I want to have that image of a club that is human, that has human values, you know. I want to be able to sit down with you, talk to you, and enjoy a cup of coffee, even though I want you to leave the club. You know what I mean? Because I want to separate the business side than the human side. And this is probably a little bit challenging. I'm trying, because that is the psychological aspect for me, is probably what matters the most.
We're here at the TransferRoom deal day in Madrid. Explain why you're here now then, and how it helps you.
I think first of all to come and get to know people, because also networking is part of this job and it's very important. And the more connection you have, the more information you have, and then you know what is going on. And also to promote what we do at our club, you know, to the clubs that will fit kind of what we do, but also to get a feeling of what others do, because we are all interdependent. You know, I will need people to come and link with me so I can do my business model. But my business model depends also on different clubs where you get players also, you know. So it's kind of a connection that I am trying to get right now.
And are there any particular clubs or styles, philosophy, or even countries that you're kind of pinpointing, or is it just an open book and you see what happens?
No, it will a lot depend on everything that you said, because we're trying to play a certain philosophy in our club in Dunkerque. And definitely if you sell a player, he has to fit the philosophy that you want to play, or I will say the profile of players that he is has to fit with the club where he's going. And then of course you have a different market. For example, the Portuguese market is interesting for me because it's a country that also knows well how to promote players. And Belgium also, it's another one where we can get also some good players and sell players. Last year we sold a player to the Belgian market, which is interesting. And I want to open also the English market for second division in Dunkerque for the youngsters, because I think the Premier League too is very important for us.
It certainly is indeed, and I played in Portugal, and I know there's a lot of talent at grassroots. So good luck with that one. I mean, look, you joined over 800 clubs and 500 agencies on TransferRoom as well. What is your philosophy? You said about you wanting the players that perhaps you want to bring in to suit your philosophy. What is that exactly?
You know, technically we just acquired the club a year ago, and we have a long-term plan, but obviously you have stages. The first stages we are in is, you know, I said to the owner, I don't want you to pour money in every year stupidly and then the money is spent and lost. So we're trying to create value in the club. And unfortunately, lately in France with the TV right, it's not the right moment in France to be spending money. So what we're trying to do right now is to be able to get players and to put value on the players by the training program that we are doing and the methodology, and then to promote them so people can come and take them and buy them. And all the money that we are going to cash in is going to be reinvested to make sure that we are sustainable and we don't just depend on somebody that comes and put money in every year. So this is the first stage where we're creating value within the club. And then the later stage will be when we are created enough funds that we can also ourselves become the clubs that buys rather than the clubs that sell.
We're here sitting at lunchtime now. Apologies if you are hungry at the moment.
Fine, I need to lose some weight.
How have you found this morning so far?
I find it good. I think the weight setup is pretty nice. 15 minutes is it's more than enough to promote what you want to do, you know, and then being able to be around so many people that are important in the football business. It's a huge thing.
You've also been busy on the TransferRoom as a club, using the platform to help with the signings of Liverpool's Billy Cometio and Achraf Laziri as well from Olympique Lyonnais. I know you already had sort of contacts at Lyonnais as well, but tell us about Billy and how that TransferRoom helped with that.
It was at the time when I just arrived. We didn't have a scouting department yet, so I had people that I work with that was looking around, and then somebody broke the profile of Billy, which I liked, and then I made the inquiry directly on TransferRoom, and then from there we started, we get it going, and we ended up signing him. It facilitates the communication, it makes it more official, because on TransferRoom, you know, it's club to club, goes faster, you know.
And finally, what are your priorities with the club for the rest of the transfer window?
We with TransferRoom, it's helping, and TransferRoom also is growing every day, because we see there is new fixtures that come every now and then that helps us in the selection of players to be more precise in the way we want to recruit. But yeah, right now is to be able to see what relation we can do. If we have 2-3 business we can do on both sides, either selling or acquiring some players.
Demba, on behalf of Chelsea, West Ham, Newcastle and other clubs that you play for, the fans as well, thank you. I really enjoyed watching you play. So
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
For
Thank you.
All the best.
I appreciate it.